Scartafist here, and we're going to be doing a rundown of patch 1.2 for Freeman Guerrilla Warfare. Now, I've had a little bit of time just to kind of skim over 1.2 and kind of just form a couple of thoughts that I really want to point out in terms of what this patch means for the game overall, balance-wise, and for what everyone's probably still asking about, modding tools. So, and we'll get to the latter towards the very end as we, scroll down. So yeah, let's begin with, new campaign. Generally speaking, right now, you kind of just like load into a campaign and you just want to conquer the world. There's really only one objective. Now, judging by what it's saying over here, it definitely seems like they're adding a little more different scenarios in which you can kind of start the campaign now. This is good for role-playing experiences as well as, just to freshen things up. I mean, yeah, simply put, good for the game overall. Adds to longevity. Very, very nice. Now, the one thing I am a little bit confused about is this second section over here where it says additional original classic battle. 2 new special campaigns are available upon new games: a continent of chaos and a challenge mode. So you see, my thing is, up here it says 3 new campaigns are available: Rise of the Atov, to Conquest to Unite a Land, and 3 war parties. Now, it seems to me that this second section over here refers to after you beat the game once. I would assume that this is locked behind completing the game, kind of like a new game plus mode, which would make sense, but you're not really sure. Now, we can obviously, judging by the titles of these campaigns, assume that Rise of the Atov, you play as a member of the Atov Federation, most broken faction in the game, or I should say strongest. Not really busted, you're just the strongest by far. Conquest to Unite a Land probably is your standard campaign of what you're playing right now. Prior to 1.2, you just dropped off, middle of nowhere, no affiliation whatsoever. And 3 war parties, I don't really know what that is, but if I had to take a guess, it's 3 factions are like control the entire map instead of the traditional 5 or 6 or whatever you want to call it, right? And you probably pick one, or maybe you are a mercenary and you're only dealing with 3 factions. Still not too sure about what that is exactly for this campaign, but something along the lines of that. So yeah, back to the second one. I have to imagine that this is something like a new game plus mode, which would be really good. At least for me on the channel here, I'm going to be able to do shit like, play like extra hard difficulty. I already play on max difficulty. I mean, maybe like something like a challenge mode or chaos or whatever, where everyone's out to get you. There's just constant warring, constant aggression. I mean, that's something I would look forward to. So note, choosing a new campaign provides a fresh experience, different gaming stages, environments. Okay, so yeah. All right, now we go to quick game. Honestly, I'm not going to go too much into this section because I only care about the campaign. This seems like more of a quality of life change. I mean, they're saying now the one thing before I go on to any other point that I want to note is famous battles are available at the quick game mode. When you say famous, this leads me to believe that there's actually going to be some lore behind the game. A proper story, not even proper, but just a little bit more fleshed out to make you feel more immersed in the world of Cherniv. For Warband, it's overall kind of create your own stories, but there's these other, deeper background plots to some of these nations in Warband, such as Swadia, Rhodox. They all have their claimants or whatever. Maybe we start to see something similar along the lines of that in Freeman. These nations are not just like, oh, he's good with they're good with machine guns, they're good overall, they're terrorists, whatever. Maybe you actually start seeing some just background history to these factions that make you choose one over the other, aside from the purpose of like what's strongest and what's weakest or whatever, right? But yeah, kind of excited about that. But overall, quick game, just for me at least, feels like a quality of life change. But if we are getting some lore behind the factions, very, very good. Gambling, I'm pretty happy about this overall. However, I would have honestly preferred to have blackjack back in the game because, gambling is added each city bar. Yeah, it's a lottery essentially. It will cost a few coins. Rewards will be added to the inventory. I don't know how many coins you can put in, but it's saying it's going to cost a few coins. So like maybe I don't know the cash amount that you're going to get from this. We have to wait and see. But I'm glad that gambling is kind of back in the game, just so you can like increase your funds without having to just constantly fight or trade. And speaking of trading, and I'm not going to go too far into this point, the game so far doesn't really encourage a trading playstyle, at least at the highest difficulties. And what I've noticed so far, you're kind of just like even though they don't specifically say it, the game rewards you a lot more by killing shit than it does ever by trading. And whether or not this is intended by design, it's just it's nice to know that there are other ways to make money in the game, preferably gambling right now, which is good. I'm really glad they brought this back, because farming, Cossack rebels, armored desert marauders in the early game is quite a challenge. Like, I'm burning through 6 health packs already, give or take, and it's a long grind to say the least. Okay, next thing, black market. Now, this is probably the most monumental change in terms of balance that I'm kind of curious to see turn out. So with black market, they're saying they're going to remake the black market, remove uncommon weapons from the black market. More powerful customized weapons are added to the black market upon entering. Players are allowed to choose one customized weapon with enhanced features. Other items, yada yada yada, are other items from the former black market available at the merchant. Okay, so and these are just the features that you get. So stuff like this could be the removal of the SR100 as well as the SV98M. Like, uncommon weapons mean shit you cannot buy in the black market. Or, you see, this is what I'm confused about. Does it mean uncommon as in, like, you can only get it from questing? Because the current patch, you got the armor 2 black or the armor black, the SR100, and the Spetsnaz helm cannot be purchased in the current black market. You can only get those through quests, or if you build a Spetsnaz helmet factory or special helmet factory. That's the only way you get these types of gear. So, and the black market right now is only, if I remember correctly, only for weapons. So I'm not too sure what weapons we're going to be seeing removed from the game, but it's saying that they're transferring these uncommon weapons onto merchants, right? Other items from the former black are available at the merchant. So I'm assuming that it's not a complete removal, but if they put it into the merchant, it makes it more accessible. So I guess that's kind of a buff overall, but I would hate to see the SR100 removed. This is the kind of confusing point that I have about the black market. Now, on the other note, you have customized weapons with enhanced stats. Now, I'm curious to see how strong these enhancements are going to be, because currently, in the stable patch that we're playing on Steam, not the test version, in the current patch that we're playing on Steam, damage for the player was nerfed hard. That or HP was buffed for the AI, because the SR100 and most of your fucking rifles are not one-tapping. Now, to be fair, assault rifles were never meant to one-tap, but the SR100 was hard nerfed. It wasn't noticeable at first, but it's been nerfed to the point where it takes a lot more skill to score a one-hit kill. You can't, like, you're not gonna get free crits just by hitting any part of the body. Let's just say that. And the bullet drop, or like the speed at which the bullet travels a lot faster, which means you have to be precise, even more precise than before. Before, you could kind of, aim a little bit ahead and kind of predict it. Now, a lot harder to hit your targets. And, on stream, I've been dying like a lot more just because I've had to adjust the way I shoot. And it's a little bit difficult, to be quite honest, because I don't have exactly the best aim in the world. I'm usually good at predicting shit, but yeah, a little bit difficult. But I am curious to see how strong these features are, like I was saying before, in that on the current patch, I kind of feel forced to go sniper rifle or heavy ballistics just because of the fact that you're not going to drop your opponent with an AR or a SCAR or an AK. That shit's going to take it's going to take like what? 6 shots to drop a medium, armored opponent. And that's if you're not hitting the head. If you hit the head, right, or the upper body, maybe it's 4 or 5. But you look at, the SCAR 100, and keep in mind, I'm level 97 right now on max difficulty, maxed out professions, everything maxed out. A SCAR on a medium target opponent, we're just using that for reference because it's no longer the best weapon. The AK-12 is currently, right? But that's probably 50 damage, and you got an AI having like 200 plus health. That's not including with armor. Armor's reducing that to maybe 40 damage a piece. Now, if I get the AK-12, I'm looking at still less than 90 in the damage category, and that's just not cutting it, right? Especially when you have to factor in the recoil. Now, obviously, you got probably your tip-top rifle in the Groza, or even the AUG that can reliably take them down, maybe in 4 shots or so. But getting that is still going to be extremely difficult. So, if the enhancements are not good enough, you're going to be seeing very, very difficult late game, because when you get as long as the troop balance remains the same, in that you have your Atov Federation machine gunners being like absolute bonkers with special forces, as long as that remains the same, you're going to have a fucking hard time in the late game. Before this patch, this most recent patch, all you had to do was fight through the early game, and the late game would be a cakewalk, because one, your SR-100 was one tap, and it was easier to hit your shots, right? Now there's a good chance you have to two-hit something, and the time it takes to reload the rifle, because it's bolt action, right? That's valuable time lost. But back to the main point, late game's actually going to be a challenge now, because you're not going to go for the hard targets when you don't have the fucking firepower. Right now, the standard is to probably run, for me at least, it's to run 6 medkits. Well, 5 now that smoke grenades are usable, right? 5 to 6 medkits, smoke grenade, utility at nighttime, because you sure as hell don't want to fight any sieges during the day, because you'll just get absolutely destroyed. Don't even get me started about what happens in snow biome, right? You're fighting at nighttime, you got what, 350 cal or 1143 ammunitions for your SR-100. Then you got your 5 med kits, your smoke grenade, and your night vision, and maybe a frag grenade, right? Assuming I have all the, counted shit correctly. But late game is fucking hard right now. With this, if they don't get the numbers correct, late game could be even harder, because it sounds like they want to incentivize you to get a fucking OP as hell machine gun or assault rifle that has either better damage or better capacity. Now, sniper rifles are, well, not sniper rifles, but the SR-100 remains here. I could definitely see me wanting to get something along the lines of capacity upgrade, or even velocity. Actually, no, upgrading the velocity would make it even more ridiculous to hit. Probably just the capacity, because you got your limit on 5. Anyway, enough about weapon balance or my personal preference. Continuing, the combinations may customize weapons more powerful, so pick with patience. So it generally seems like they want this to be your end game. So hopefully they give it the nice stat boost that it requires, because right now assault rifles are not viable, especially if you're trying to solo, which for some reason I am. Even if you're using, a team of units right now, a squad of units, battles are fucking tough as shit. Your squad, even if they're level 15, they're going to get tapped out just because of the fact that the enemy has, this aim assistance, and they're just OP as hell. Not OP, but they're just really, really fucking strong with machine gunners. And, basically, machine gunners, shotgunners, or VAL troops are the strongest composition you can run right now overall. They don't even need to have night vision, simply put. All right, so in terms of balancing, this HMG now equipped with 50 cal ammo. That doesn't really solve the problem. Is the Mini 24 50 cal? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But the Mini 24 is still fucking, busted. It's really strong in the hands of the AI. Same with shotguns. Bug fix: enemy soldiers do not occasionally move. Yada. Okay, so this was a bug. Preferences. Yada yada yada. AI construction will not exceed land. Stop cheating. You see, I didn't know they were doing this. But this would explain why certain cities are stronger have more buildings for the AI than you ever will if you start early. Anyway, highlights of the next update: optimizing the game's artifact. You see, now here's the thing: balancing soldiers to reduce the level effect and increase the challenge. And immediately below that, you got balancing enemy troops in the field. So when they reduce the level effect, that I got to imagine they're nerfing stats across the board to increase the challenge. Okay, that's fine, but they did that by nerfing health growth, and for some fucking reason, damage, I know for a fact, damage was not fucking nerfed in this patch right now. They probably just made it more difficult to score critical hits and shit, or they made the armor value stronger, but I know for a fact damage was definitely not nerfed. If anything, it was buffed, but time to kill, or it got harder, it's still harder to kill your opponents. Now, when they say beneath here, balancing enemy troops in the field, that could probably be any other stat. All that really matters for me is that your sniper rifles are basically gonna one hit, because if you're gonna make it extremely tough to land a shot, you have to guarantee that someone's rewarded. I'm not gonna this isn't and this is only for your best sniper rifle. Something that's going to cost 100K. You could even up the price to 200K. But if I'm paying that much, I expect a one-hit kill if I land, I expect a one-hit kill because I'm not settling for 138 having to reload when I got an assault rifle that can basically auto-fire with relatively no recoil on max proficiency, or if I switch to single fire, right? And I can just 3-tap the guy for the equivalent damage. That, it's just, it either one hits, your best rifle either should one hit or revert the nerf, the pseudo buff slash shadow, the shadow nerf on, the accuracy requirement. Because right now, it's fucking hard, way harder to land a shot. You reverse that change, I'm fine if it goes 138. But if it's going to require much higher accuracy or aim skill on the part of the player to land the shot, that thing needs to be a one-hit kill on any single opponent. You cannot have, I don't care if it's a shock trooper level 15, if I'm hitting this guy in the head, I should not be doing 239 to his 320 health. This guy should be fucking dead. I should be getting the fucking multiplier. Not saying that it isn't the case already, but if it's even upper body, that shit should be a one-hit kill. Right? Like that, simply put. Now, maybe this is just me complaining a little bit because of lack of skill, but if I'm 138, 150 damage for a sniper rifle is not enough, especially the best in the game. Nerf it to 2 shots if you have to. Actually, don't do that. That's a terrible idea. That just makes that makes the weapon completely unviable. Right? But yeah. Overall, good changes. I am a little bit iffy on the fact that they didn't include the modding tools. I did predict initially about end of October that we would see this roughly in a month's time, and we have yet to see it, but hopefully it does come out. And if it doesn't, well, the good news is these new campaigns are going to extend the game's longevity. So maybe they're doing this because they want more time on the mod tools. But yeah, those are my thoughts overall. Quick TLDR, this extends the game. Quality of life change, maybe adding lore, very good for more money. Weapon balance needs to be tweaked. Quality of life, not really too much of a big deal, especially since judging by when this update comes out, I don't really think machine guns are going to be too viable. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll go get back to it, right? Bug fixes, nice to know. This is a little bit confusing overall. I don't know how the enemy is going to be balanced. Maybe you nerf their aim, maybe you don't. But yeah, overall, pretty good update. Pretty good overall. I'm probably going to try it off camera to see to get a really good sense of what's viable and what's not. Because currently, sniper rifle no longer the most viable weapon. You're probably better off running machine guns as a secondary with maybe even an assault rifle or a sniper rifle and assault rifle. All I know is buff rocket launchers because you want to make that shit viable. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Leave a comment if you got any suggestions or about what the devs should do, or just leave one if you feel like it. Yeah, these are my thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one.